But before we delve into the world of finance and strategy, let's get to know Ryan a little better. First and foremost, Ryan is eagerly anticipating the arrival of his second daughter, Charlotte. Oh, that's an adorable name. Due to make her grand entrance into the world on June 27th. With his first daughter, Savannah, already keeping things lively at home, Ryan is thrilled to expand his family with another bundle of joy. It's worth noting that both girls bear the names of southern cities, a nod to his wife's for the charm of the Americans South. That was a hard sentence. When he's not immersed in the world of wealth management, Ryan is a passionate sports enthusiast. From the gridiron to the diamond, he revels in all things competitive. Whether it's a spirited game of pickleball or a laid back round of old man softball, Ryan is all in. He is also a devout follower of the Denver Broncos and a staunch supporter of Washington State College athletics. But Ryan's love for the outdoors rivals his passion for sports. Kayaking, hunting, fishing, rafting, you name it, he's game. And let's not forget his two trusty companions, his golden labs who join him on every adventure. Do you take them paddleboarding too?
He's 100 pounds.
I mean,
I got a
okay.
picture I'll show you.
Perfect. Driven by his entrepreneurial spirit and fueled by his firsthand experience in the trenches of business ownership, Ryan has dedicated himself to serving fellow entrepreneurs in his community. Through PacWest Wealth, he and his team of advisors empower business owners to gain clarity and control over their financial futures by meticulously organizing their financial data. So, without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Ryan Myers as he shares his expertise on navigating the complexities of business planning.
Wow. I got to call Whitney after this.
She's so good at that.
Yep, you're right, Kenny. Them Broncos gonna win. Bo Nix. Anyone an Oregon fan? We got Bo Nix. All right. I promised I would share a couple pictures. So that's my wife, my beautiful wife, Michelle. And then there we are. This is at the Grand Canyon, if you can't tell. Then here we are at the Golden Gate Bridge. There's Savannah, my daughter, doing a little backpacking. And then there's the lab. I promised you 100 pounds, like I said. So let's get into the good stuff here. So business planning. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about retaining key people because employees are the most valuable asset in the business. So let's take a look and see what some strategies are. First things first, expectations have definitely risen in terms of employee benefits. So basic group benefits, we'll go over those in a minute, but are absolutely expected. You have to have those as attraction pieces to hire good employees. And in the absence of a simple benefits package, you're just going to be a replaceable business. So we're looking for employee engagement. A positive corporate culture is going to produce highly productive workforce that rises above sufficiency. So how do we get these employees to engage and more importantly, above the status quo? Because status quo is just going to, yield basic results. But what we want to do is we want to build a benefits package for employees that translates to them the value that you see in those key employees. So I put together a couple statistics here of problems that are going on with not just employees, but all of us. This is just across the board, but specifically how a business owner can help with these areas. So you can see 70% of employees struggling with credit cards, trouble saving for retirement, their children's education expenses, basic living expenses, medical, elderly parents, all these different aspects of just life that's going to get in the way of the business, right? So what stuck out to me in this report is that only 1 in 4 of the organizations that took this survey currently have any budget for financial education. So they're not doing any education for employees and helping employees solve any of these problems. So it's just creating a ton of extra stress. And that stress, of course, is going to bounce back on the business owner. And it's just going to cause a lot more turmoil than has to be there. So financial literacy and education is definitely what's needed. And as you've heard Iggy and several other business advisors in this group talk about, that cost is a lot less than the cost of replacing employees. That's why I use that question today, the 6 to 9 month salary. Super expensive if your employees burn out and they leave. So we need to get in there and help them with some financial education so we can solve some of these issues. So let's take a look at what key employees are versus all employees. You guys have heard me talk about this many times. The key employee is somebody that if they were to leave tomorrow suddenly, it would have a huge, disastrous blowback on the business. It would mean the owner would have to start stepping in and doing a lot of the tasks that that key employee was doing, and it would hurt the business. So that's what it's a disproportionate impact. So let's talk a little bit about motivation and unintended consequences. Key employees are not motivated by rank and file benefits, which are, like I said, great benefits that we have to have. So one area that I wanted to focus on was higher income. What happens? So if you guys are familiar with reverse discrimination, let's use a 401k as an example. It has contribution limits. So a highly compensated employee saves less as a percentage of their income into their retirement accounts. So let's use someone that makes 300,000, they can only save a certain amount versus someone who can say 100,000, they're going to be able to save more as a percentage of that income. So that's a reverse discrimination there. And then long-term disability, same thing. It's going to be a lot lower for those that make higher incomes because it's capped. So when we're talking about incentivizing employees to stick around for the long term, there's short term, which is based on performance. So we want to have incentive plans that are designed to shape employee behavior in the short term. These incentives are tied to a formula that aligns the employee's goals with the overall business goals. So once again, make those employees feel like they're making a big difference. And then the retention piece is a long term. And these are designed to keep an employee from willfully leaving the company during a set period of time. So both have to be involved in a good plan. You got to have the short term to keep the motivation going and keep them feel valued. And you also got to have the long term, especially as it lines up with the business owner's inevitable exit one day. You got to make sure that these people are going to be there when you leave to either take over or make the business a more viable sale. So the person buying your business isn't buying a job, they're buying a fully functioning business because all those employees are doing everything that they're supposed to be doing and running the business. So this is where it gets into what others do in the BNI group that I don't do. So you can see things on here. You got, Fletch is in here and Christine's in here, and there's a lot of stuff that are in here that I don't do, that aren't even on this list in terms of benefits. So these are great benefits, absolutely, like Kathleen and HR and what Iggy and Emily are doing and James, everybody in here. Although these are great benefits and provide a ton of value, they don't have the retention power beyond 12 months in a lot of these areas. Because if you give someone a bonus at the end of the year, they can just take the bonus and take off. So most business owners, the knee-jerk reaction is to give up equity in order to get that business off the ground and get that key employee motivated, but it's hard to get that equity back in the tube. So that equity can be extremely valuable in the future. And if you give it up in the beginning, it can be devastating for your end goals. So what we really want to do is reflect. We want to contemplate, what's the purpose of rewarding these key people? Are we creating a business partner? Is it just to get a good and happy employee? Are we aligning their behavior with the owner's goals? These are all very important aspects to consider when we're looking at building a retention plan. And then all good retention plans should have these 4 aspects to them. It's got to be substantial. The benefits got to be worth something to that key employee. We defer that benefit for a time in the period. That's what creates them to stay there for the long run. It's designed to recapture so the company can get that money back. So it's not all just a loss and a payout. And then lastly, it solves a problem or challenge for the employee and their family that is both financial and emotional. That's what we talked about in our breaker room today, is emotional intelligence. How do we connect with these employees? Because it's not all about the money. There's got to be meaning and purpose behind these plans. So let's take a look at a couple examples here, little case studies. Mr. John, key employee. Education is what's really important to him for his children. He's married, he's 35 years old, he's got 2 toddler children. He's basically me, right? I'm gonna have my second child, I'm 34. So John will receive $15,000 per year for each child over a 4-year period to help cover education costs. But John must remain with the company for 12 years, including the 4-year payout period, to receive the entire benefit. So this way, education is covered for his children. The company wins because in order to do this, the company had to grow. Win-win for the owner and the key employee in the situation. Then option 2, Miss Jane Key, she's the VP of operations. Retirement is on her mind. So she's thinking about what's going to help me to retire. So the business owner in this case puts something together for her. She's married, she's 55 years old, planning for retirement. Jane will receive $35,000 per year for 5 years, starting at the age of 65, allowing her to defer and receive maximum Social Security retirement benefits. So if she can have this 5-year pension as a bridge to wait till she's 70 years old to take Social Security, she's going to get a lot more benefits there. But she's going to have to stay with the company for the next 10 years, from 55 to 65, and achieve a declared profit margin benchmark. All that means is there's incentives here. There's things that she has to do in order to get this benefit, not just stay with the company for 10 years, but also performance-based. That's that incentive, that motivation that comes along with that. So those are 2 little case studies as examples of how we can put together a plan that incorporates what's important to the key employees and make it a win-win for the business and for said key employees. So I'm up at 10 minutes on my timer. Not sure what you have on your guys' timer, but let me know if you guys have any questions, if you have any what this would look like. We do have a couple seminars coming up here. This one's with KeyBank. It's over in Beaverton. We talk about key employee planning amongst a couple other things. And you can notice there's a bunch of advisors on here. We're big on the financial team and coordination, just like I mentioned here with purpose and overview with BNI. So let me know if you guys are interested in coming to a seminar and learning more. This one's with Pacific West Bank downtown. So that's all I got for today.